Hello and welcome to my presentation of the Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. My name is Noni Walker, and I am an author, speaker, coach, and consultant who has been drastically affected by learning the material in the Cash Flow Quadrant. As you can see here on the right side of your screen, there's the book that I myself have published back in 2013. It's called The F Train to Freedom, with a very long subtitle, A Wellness Guide to Finding Peace Within Mind, Body, and Spirit. And that book is available on my website, www.noniwalker.com. It's also available on Amazon. And as you see, there is a very casual picture of good old me taken earlier this year. Again, welcome to this presentation. And I wanted to share with you the reason why I'm doing this presentation. Why am I promoting the Cash Flow Quadrant? Well, I've been an entrepreneur since 2011. That's when I started my very first company. And ever since then, I was calling myself a business owner. I worked from 2011 to 2013 part-time on my business. I went full-time. I went back to part-time, and I've been full-time since last year in 2016. But the major difference, the reason why this particular concept has affected my life so drastically is, as I said, I was calling myself a business owner for years, okay, for 5-6 years until I learned this, that in fact, I was simply self-employed, okay? And without understanding that, I was not understanding as an entrepreneur, why was I getting burnt out? Why was I frustrated? Why did I feel like I was doing everything on my own? Why wasn't I bringing in the income and the wealth that I really knew, as a quote unquote business owner that I should be bringing in? So I wanted to present this to you all in case you have never heard of this, in case you might be confused as I was until last year, and to really explain the differences between each of these cash flow sections in the quadrant. All right. So here is the cash flow quadrant. Okay. And it's called many different things. One thing that it's called is 4 ways to produce income. I've also heard it, the 4 different types of people and how they earn money. But regardless, there are letters or labels for each quadrant: employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And the key, if you are in the mind frame that you want to pursue freedom in your life, financial freedom, time freedom, freedom to be with your family, freedom to do what you want, you must move yourself from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. So in today's world, what we see is that looking at this quadrant as a whole, okay, 95% of the population exists on the left side of the quadrant. 5% of the population exists on the right side. I believe since this book was published, the numbers might have changed a little bit. I think we have a lot more people that are going into business these days. And so I would venture to say the number might be a little bit lower. Maybe we've got 90% of the population on the left side and 10% on the right side. But either way, the percentage of wealth, where wealth is very, very small on the left side, 5 to 8%. Whereas on the right side, okay, if we've got 5 to 10% of the population that live on the right side, but they control or own 95% of the wealth, that's a huge difference. Let's get right into each quadrant. And as we do, I'm going to share with you words, okay? If you're existing in one of these quadrants, these are the types of words you'll hear these people use. So first is employee. An employee is someone who has a job, okay? They're going to be using words like benefits. I have benefits. I have security. I really like the security of a check that comes to me every month, every 2 weeks. However, what really drives an employee, okay, for the majority of their life is fear. Fear of getting outside of that perceived box of security. Fear of taking a risk to do something different. An employee is someone who is not in control of the majority of their time. They're not in control of their income and what they can bring in. Someone else, okay, is in control of that. You're going to go to work 9 to 5. You are usually told when your lunch break is, how many times a day you can have a break. There's a cap on your income. And even if you are to do overtime, okay, well, I can do overtime and earn time and a half. There's still a cap on that. So an employee has a job where someone owns that company and therefore owns their time and owns their limit on their income. The second part of the quadrant on the left side is self-employed. This is where I was existing for years and years, thinking, okay, that I was a business owner, but truly I was self-employed. A self-employed person simply owns a job. They don't just have a job, but they own a job. A self-employed person uses words like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to be my own boss. So money is slightly more important to a self-employed person than it is an employee. And they are considered experts in their field. However, they like to do things their own way. So they're going to do things their own way. They're going to work independently. They're going to do it themselves. They're going to, therefore, own a job in which when they stop working, the money stops coming in. Now, that's the case on both sides. If you're an employee and you stop working, you're generally not able to earn income. And as a self-employed person, because you own the job, you're doing it all by yourself. You're putting in the hours. But if you were to stop those hours for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, then you're going to see an immediate stop in the income. Now, what are examples of self-employed people? Well, even the industries that have been considered to be very successful, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being a real estate agent. Typically, these are examples of people who are self-employed, or someone like me, started my own company, working as a sole proprietor. However, when I stopped speaking, when I stopped writing, when I stopped consulting, then my income stopped as well. So what we see here is a higher level of stress, because doing it all yourself means, hey, that I've got to do it all. I've got to be my own visionary, my own administrative assistant, my own secretary, my own marketing guru, my own website developer. So you're typically going to see a lot of high stress people in the self-employed category. So moving over to the right side, we have business owner, where I thought I was until last year. And then I realized I had to make a change to get over here to this right side. A business owner is someone that owns a system, okay? A business owner will hire the left side. A business owner will hire an employee. A business owner will hire a self-employed person, typically as a contractor or a subcontractor, so that they can keep themselves, the business owner keeps him or herself busy with the occupation of thinking. How can I improve the system in which my employees are working? How can I improve the system in which my self-employed contractors or subcontractors are working? But the beauty of this part of the quadrant is that instead of, as the employee and the self-employed are, instead of 100% of my time brings in 100% of my income, now because I have a system in which people are working for me, my work is then multiplied. I have a system. I've got a system that helps generate income from 5 people. So it's like the work that I'm doing and the work of the 5 people are now multiplied. And so therefore I see a multiplication in my profits. So a business owner is able to take a week off, is able to take a month off, is able to go on vacation without worrying that his or her money is going to stop. Why? Because the system is in place. And typically with a system, you also have a team. All right, let's move to the last part of the quadrant, the investor. Now, we saw with the business owner that people work for the business owner, But when you graduate to the investor part of the quadrant, the investor's money makes more money. In other words, the investor's money works for them, not necessarily people, not necessarily systems all the time, but the investor owns investments in which their money is working for them instead of them working for money. So a person who's living 80% of their time in this quadrant, 100% of their time in this quadrant has true financial freedom, to the point where even if they don't work the rest of their lives, they have made proper investments, spread out, tangible and or intangible, to where they have true freedom to do whatever they want because their money is working for them. Their money is always coming in. Okay? So they're going to be able to spend time on the golf course. They're going to be able to spend time traveling. They're going to be able to spend time with their family. They're going to be able to help other people and basically do whatever the heck they want because their money is working for them. Okay? Now, what do we know then about looking at the total picture? Okay, the total picture of the cash flow quadrant. Here is another pictorial version of this where we see on the left side, with if you are an employee or you're self-employed, you're typically going to be working very hard. Even though you think you have security, you do not have security. If the owner of the company that you're working for as an employee decides to shut the doors tomorrow, there is no security in that. And there is no freedom of time. Also, on the left side of this quadrant, you're going to see that you've got larger debts, okay? Because it's going to take a larger amount of money in order to live. And typically you're living check to check, contract to contract, okay? You might hear a doctor say, business is good, everything is good, or I've had some lean times. You might hear lawyers and real estate agents and everybody else say, oh, well, it's seasonal. Oh, my business is going great in the spring, but not so great in the fall. So even though it's not check to check as an employee, it still may be season to season, contract to contract. So what do we have on the left side? A lot of times we have, like I said, a lot of stress. But as you move over to the right side, where your work does not equal 100% of your income, you can put in less time to run your system, put in less time to manage your investments, but where you're now going to earn passive income. And on this right side of the quadrant, it's easier work. In fact, although you're taking more risk, you're actually securing yourself in terms of being more stable and more secure. You're going to have more spare time. You're going to be able to pay off those debts and then get to the point of having no debt whatsoever on the personal side. On the business side, that's a different conversation. Typically, operating a successful business does mean always having debt. That's a different conversation. But you're going to have plenty of money. And what does plenty of money buy you? It buys complete and total freedom. All right. Here's another pictorial of this cash flow quadrant. On the left side, your time equals your income. However, on the right side, okay, you're able to leverage your time, leverage your system, leverage your investments for freedom. Okay. So I think I would like to do a more in-depth presentation on this and really help you understand how to switch from the left side to the right side. I'll just say a brief summary. If you're like, you know what, I didn't realize this. I didn't realize that as an employee for 40, 50 years straight, I'm still going to be controlled. I didn't realize as a self-employed author that I still was not truly free. I want to shift to the right side. There's many different ways that you can do that, and you can do it on a part-time basis. Okay. Very quickly, I'll do more of an expansion in another video, but quickly, you can operate a business system where you might buy a franchise. You might get into network marketing. You might develop your own system that is able to work automatically or through people that, again, you're able to leverage your time. You might become an investor, okay, through things like real estate. Those are tangible assets. You might invest in intangible assets like stocks, bonds. You might become an investor by investing in oil. Did you know that you're able to purchase mining rights, okay, where you do the work the one time and then you're able to receive income over the rest of your lifetime? You might decide to invest in gold. You might decide to invest in guns. I mean, there's like so many different industries out there, or so many different areas in which you can invest in and as an investor, your money works for you instead of you working for your money. Well, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you'd like to get more information, you'd like to stay inspired, understanding where you are and how to start today to move to something different, I invite you to join me on one or both of my websites, or somewhere online or somewhere in person. I have a brand, the Win Legacy Group, Financial and Business Services, where I operate as a financial consultant. I target women, but I work with everybody to help you understand, how do you start? How can you start today? Through budgeting, through planning, through seeing where you are, putting it out all on the table, creating an action plan to move forward. That you can find more information through my website, winlegacygroup.com. If you'd like to learn more about the book that I shared with you earlier, The F Train to Freedom, and my activities as a speaker and as a consultant, please visit me at noniwalker.com. And hey, for all of my social butterflies out there, find me on Facebook and YouTube at Win with Noni, or you can find me on Instagram at Noni Walker. So this is Noni Walker. Thank you so much for joining me today for Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. And I hope that you were able to think and assess where you are and where you want to be. The difference is making a decision. Thank you so much for joining me, and take care.